profiler, they may have multiple settings, at least minimum of 2, and those are regulated as well in Sri Lanka. So, and other standards as well, which we'll talk later. So the WAF is there, and then you will know the firewalls. This is what we call a perimeter firewall. So there's a cluster there because there's 2. Your VPNs would be terminating here, and your DMZ zone, demilitarized zone, would be going out from here. And then it would come to your core switches. From the core switches, it would go to distribution switches. From the distribution, it would go to access switches. And your wireless people would be connecting through the access points, through the access switches, to the distribution switches. And then the high level pairs I have indicated here. And then they will have your internal firewalls, which should be protecting your server cluster, which I have been indicating here in yellow, right? So this is the network portion. So if somebody would come from the internet side, they would go through the WAF, will be filtered with SQL injections, any sort of web application sort of attacks. It will filter through. Then it will come to the perimeter firewall. From there, it will check the rules, block all the traffic and whatnot. Or the VPNs would be terminating here. Then come to the core switches, distribution switches, and then come to the, if they are getting a service from the DMZ, they would be directly sent from there. That is the best practice. They would not be coming to the internal firewalls in any way. They would be directly going to the DMZ, and from DMZ they would request a service, and any traffic from DMZ comes again to the perimeter firewalls, filter through this, comes through the internal firewall, grabs their thing from this the servers and goes out. The internal users, you can see here the PCs, IP phones, and also if there are IP phones and everything, like whichever is requiring power, IP phones, biometric devices, whatnot, these would be PoE, power over Ethernet switches, or somebody would use a power injector, a PoE injector to these, and they would go to the access switches. So whatever happens, this server cluster is protected with internal firewall. So even an internal user who clicked on a phishing email and then gets his PC compromised, they can't directly do a lateral movement into the server cluster. That's why the internal firewalls are there. So anytime we have a suspicion, we hit to the firewall and get it. So that's why I have indicated, you can see the north-south traffic, which is internet and coming in and going out. And then there's east-west traffic, which we call the lateral movement. So you can laterally go. That's why the network segregation, network segmentation, VLANs, those things are important. Since you guys are networking students, some are here, so trunk ports, VLANs, those things, your familiar things are here. Right? And then this might be kind of little new to you. We have a server cluster here, which are virtualized. So the resources are presented in a virtual manner. We can think of it like a clay, and then you can make a different size of ports or anything for you to make things. And then I have, if anybody is familiar with VMware, so this is the vCenter appliance, which we call VCSA, vCenter Server Appliance, which can manage all these things. And then you have virtual servers, or VMs as we call it, different ones. You can put it there. There are so many hypervisors around: VMware ESXi, Microsoft Hyper-V, KVM, Nutanix, right? Those things are main hypervisors. So you virtualize your stuff, and your virtual machine servers are here. And then you might have your backup server. And then this is what we call out-of-band management. So all of these things are not managed with the internet traffic for security reasons. We have a separate network called management line, or out-of-band management line, which is indicated in, you can see if you go to a real server or a real switch, they have the out-of-band management port, or console port as we call it in normal terms. That would be connected to the management line there, and nobody can connect to it from outside. And the access to this management LAN is very, very limited. Maybe like 2 PCs may be allowed. And so that's how we protect the management part. And then the green part, you see the storage part, where the SAN switches, the storage network comes in with these servers, and then the data gets stored in a block manner in the SAN storage. If we are storing files, we can have an AS, network attached storage. So they talk in different protocols. You can see now this yellow one. So this talk in fiber channel usually, or iSCSI. And then this usually you might know, have heard of it. Maybe INFS or CFS or SMB, so those things. And then tape loaders, they have a different file system, which we call LTFS, linear tape file system. So they have their data storage, because in security we will talk in further, we call something, we need to have availability. So to keep availability, we keep 3 copies of any data, 2 on site, 1 off site, 3 different media. So so your production data would be on this end, you will get a backup to NAS, and then after a certain while you will remove your hot data, like this would be hot data and then warm data, and then you can call them like call data to your tape, and then there's archival data as such. There are different terms. And now this would be something which we call in the data center or in one of these clouds. And for higher, what happens if something happens and this data center goes out? You don't have to have the data center gone out. If these 2 links go out, that's good enough. The data center doesn't work, right? So then you have to have a disaster recovery location. So we call them DC, data center, and DR, disaster recovery, or like production and DR, production site, and the disaster recovery site, right? So that I have indicated here, maybe in a cloud platform, because that's easier, and we can turn off our resources and turn them on, so to save cost, because everything costs, right? Everything is money, right? So I have indicated like certain Azure components here, the Azure icons. You might be familiar if you are working with Microsoft Azure. So Traffic Manager, there's a virtual network, there's a virtual machine, O365 is here, Azure Active Directory. So you can put a AD sync here with the Azure on-prem AD, and you can have an Azure hybrid AD scenario. Recovery Vault is again another Azure feature. There are databases. You can just store files in a blob, right? So, like if you are familiar with AWS, I'm from Azure side, so there can be certain things like, Route 53, S3 buckets, virtual machines, like Elastic instances, different names, same thing, right? So that's the cloud, right? So this is pretty much what the infrastructure is on a typical manner. They can be here and there, little bit changes depending on the organization and all. Without knowing how things are, and actually there's no point we talking about security, because this is where the things are mostly where we apply things to, right? Anything, if you buy a SaaS product, that is on the cloud, right? If you get other things, that is, if you host your own things, databases, virtual machines, that is on your data center. And this is how it works. In security, you need to read a lot. 90% of it is reading and 10% is actually doing it. You basically need to understand how things work. That is why we read about and learn about architectures. When you know how something works, then only you can break it, right? So security is all about stop breaking or breaking things, then see how we can not break it. That is one. So understanding architecture is important. Understanding architectures of these things is important. So when you grow up and when you go to the field, when you go ahead, you can understand these in a more detailed manner. For the time being, just think of this as how a data center is in there, right? So this is how these stuff are, this is how they are interact, and then we take them out of the rack, and this is how sort of how the things are connected, right? So any questions?
Guys, if you have any questions, please drop a message.
Yeah, then we will continue that, right? So
Yes,
guys
sir.
can
Yeah, sure.
drop the messages and we'll answer them all at once. Okay, cool. Now I heard from this from even managers who actually are in charge of things. So I just want to clarify this before we go. As young guys who are coming to the industry, you guys need to know this. This slide is taken from Microsoft. If you have been to Microsoft Learn, you might have seen it. The race just because you put things in the cloud, somebody's cloud, does not mean responsibility is not yours, right? Remember, like when you were kids and all, your parents might have taken, I mean, your parents took you to Montessori and school, right? But that doesn't mean your teacher is liable to you and responsible for your actions, right? Still, your parents had some liability. So this is your parents' liability, the blue part, light blue part. The dark blue part is your teachers or school's liability, sort of a way. So we talk about things. So see the light blue part. Now you can see the Microsoft is liable for that. That means the hosting provider. Think of this as AWS, so SLT or Dialog or whatever, GCP, IBM, whatever the cloud it is, and the dark blue is you, right? Um, I hope there are no colorblind people. If there's colorblind people, please just let me know in the chat. The darker color is the customer, you. The lighter color is the hosting provider, right? So you can see if you take now, there are certain things, right? Software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, on-premise, right? On-premise means you buy everything, you fix everything. The diagram I explained, you built everything from scratch, your money. Uh, what you do with your money is your thing. So you are responsible for whatever you did, right? So it is dark color, right? Then you go to, like, after a while you get lazy, your guys go abroad, everybody's going abroad these days. So your IT admins are gone, can't maintain your infrastructure. So you go to Microsoft Azure or AWS or anything you prefer. And then the responsibility of the physical hosting, physical network, physical data center, all these goes to your data center host, and you are just responsible for the operating system controls, how to fix it, how to route the traffic, how to create the accounts and all this, right? And then after a while, your infrastructure guys leave, and then you are like, okay, I don't need them. I can just go for a platform as a service. So you take the whole platform, like you take a Microsoft Windows virtual machine or Red Hat Red Hat Enterprise Linux virtual machine or whatever the virtual machine, or you can up to actually go to like SQL database level, like software as service, or just like O365 level you can go. So you can see still you have some responsibilities, like SaaS is like O365. You are still responsible for your devices, accounts and identities you create, and information and data, right? So just because you put something to somebody does not mean you are not responsible. It is your responsibility. In Sri Lanka, responsibility and accountability is very lacking. So when and if you become IT admins and all, don't think, oh, I put it in somebody else's data center. I am free to do whatever I want. I can tell them whatever I want them to do. No, that is not how it happens, right? There are service level agreements and there's a responsibility matrix. So you can see you are still liable for your stuff, right? You can't just put your kid at school and be happy and go on trip, right? You are still liable for your kid, right? So that is how these things work. Remember, you are liable. You guys are going to be in IT. There's the terms have different meanings. The liability is one thing, right? Responsibility and accountability are again two things. Accountability is it's like this. Your teacher says you to do something, you do it. Or if you don't do it, you ignored your responsibility. You are supposed to do it, but your teacher gets blamed because your teacher is the accountable person. Accountable means in Sri Lankan terms, bole pass karanna bෑ, right? බෝලේ අයිතිකාරය තමා accountable කියන්නේ. So responsibilities, you are supposed to do it, but you can ignore it. You will not be held sort of punished. You won't be punished per se. You will be, but not really bad, right? And then liability is to do something. It's a little deeper, but that's good enough. Okay, finally security, right? This guy has been talking forever. And finally we get to security. Okay, right. So information security. why. Okay. Let me see if I can get rid of this. Right. So, in 2017, The Economist, it's a world famous journal, talks about money and business mostly. The world's most valuable resource is no longer oil but data, right? Data is really, really valuable. You have seen what things can do, how important your data is. Now, what you call ransomware is ransomware, right? Yeah. If you were hit by a ransomware or ransomware, as you call it, if you were downloading an illegal or like copyrighted content through a torrent from some site, and you download and execute that game or an exe, and you suddenly see a command window pop up and suddenly goes, well, I have bad news for you. Good luck for your data, and you are suffering and you are distraught because your childhood memories are now gone. Right? No way to get them back, maybe. Right? Or if they are asking huge amount of money. Imagine that will happen to a corporation. Right? Imagine that happens to your banking. That is not good. Right? So data is very, very important. That's why the security guys get paid to protect them. And the other side as well, if you don't protect them, good luck. And then in 2012, the Robert Mueller, director of FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigations, United States of America, he said this famous quote. There are different versions of it, but we believe he said this first in 2012. There are only two types of companies: those that have been hacked and those that will be. Right? Pretty much either you have been hacked or you don't know. If you guys remember about couple of years back, the SolarWinds incident and APTs and all, you know. Right? Now, there are some terms that have been thrown around. So I got this image from Caesar platform. So I can teach you easier. Information security means there can be security information on papers. You are in a government university. Certain details of your data are in files in a cabinet in some room in your university building, right? You might have planned like, I should burn this building where the register is, so my attendance can never be proven, right? Those who stay at home, cutting the classes, roaming around, you might have thought of this, right? Stealing the register. There's only one copy. I should steal this so they can't find how many classes I have been attending to, right? Those things in my school days, right? Those are analog information. In information security, those are critical and we have to have a backup, right? So there should be a copy. That's what I explained earlier, 3 copies. Okay? And then there's digital information in information security as well, what you might store in your laptops and what, right? Then there's cyber security. Cyber things is other things than information, pretty much whatever you can reach from an IP address or device, right? Things that are vulnerable through ICT, right? They are here. And then ICT security is in the middle. This digital information, which is analog from this part, whatever is being digitalized, right? Information and things that are vulnerable through ICT. So the information that can be accessed through ICT, which are digital, that's the ICT security. Cyber security is pretty much that can be accessed via a network. So there are things like if you are doing any industrial control systems or SCADA, right, SS7 or like Siemens protocol access or anything, networking guys, I don't know your curriculum, but if you are doing anything else than TCP IP, those are vulnerable as well. And then inside there, we talk about all these security stuff you guys talk about, right? People throw these random words here and there and always talk about software security, system security, app security, network security, this security, that security, there are so many security things, right? So all these things, attacks and defenses, then there's organization part, right? Always remember, just an security doesn't mean like we attack digital things and not, right? We can easily attack some person or something and then disable the services. for example, I'll give you a good example. Let's say I'm selling a fruit, right? Like I'm a street vendor, I'm selling a fruit. I have a competitor who's selling the same fruit at lower price, right? So I have a cart, that person have a cart. Uh, we both take those carts and then we take them out. So if I take a wheel out of the other person's cart, that person can't take their cart, right? Am I audible? This is my question.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for that. So we disable that person's card. Now that person can't sell, right? So we actually did an attack to that person's business and disable their business, and we did damage to their business continuity. So now our sales are good, right? I profit, right? So that's an attack as well. If you guys, I'll tell you later. There's something called side channel attacks. The former there's a great guy who does side channel attacks and all. So you might learn these things around when you Google and all. If you want, you can take a print screen and figure things out, or just go to this link. I have put all the links on the bottom, so you can either go and check. Then actually security is pretty simple when you think about it. It's built on this triangle. It's called CIA triad, right? Information security triad, or CIA. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Not the CIA you see in the movies, right? That is in USA. So this one is in everybody's security and everybody's mind who do security. This is what we pray each time when we think about things. It's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is it. So we just have to maintain, right? This is what security is all about, right? Now you might be thinking like, okay, this guy told about 3 things and there's a triangle and there are 5 things. There's a reason, but these 3 are the most valid things. These are still coming into the place. So security is all about having this, right? Why? Now we'll talk about this, right? Confidentiality. The things have to be confidential, right? We can't just post here. I mean, we've seen people who take their passport and they are very happy. Hey, I've been in the passport queue from 4 in the morning. I just got my passport. Here's a picture of it for all of you to see, which has my first name,
Recording
middle name,
stopped.
last name, and then which has
Recording
my
in progress.
birthday, and then what else we have a passport, the ID number, your picture, and everything, right? So I mean, pretty easy to reset your password, right? When I know your passport number, ID number, birthday, and all those, your name and everything, pretty easy. And I mean, I can even open an account, right? Certain online accounts, they ask for a valid picture ID. So I have your passport. I mean, how good I can be, right? Has a copy. I'm not joking. I actually I see this in social media. I saw someone posted their dad's passport yesterday, right? Which is very awkward. But that person posted the whole world to see, right? Please don't do that, right? That's your personal data. We call them PII, personally identifiable information. And don't post your PHI as well. That's not public health inspector. That is called personal health information. If you have an allergy, let's say I've seen people in Sri Lanka have allergies to what cuttlefish and what is the other thing? Pineapple, right? So technically speaking, if I want to harm you or if I want to make you sick or thing, I just have to give you anything with pineapples or cuttlefish or prawns or anything, right? Don't go and tell your weaknesses to public. Right? Keep it to yourself. Better. Right? So confidentiality is important. Cryptography, steganography, those things, access control. I'm not going to go into detail because I was asked to lightly touch on security, so I'm just going like touching them. If you have any question regarding any of this, you may ask the chat box. I will be very happy to answer. Then integrity. Whatever we say has to be authentic, right? Uh, how many of you guys wake up and go to those gossip sites? Go to Facebook and I, uh, since we are in Sri Lanka, anyway, there's a loop. I think that is called loop. Yeah, eka kara loop, right? So there's no definitive thing. He might have done it, he or she might have done it, or may not have done it. Right? So there's no validity, there's no integrity in those things. They can say whatever they want. Again, I believe we will be taking some action and we will be bringing rules to save people's integrity. Somebody can post something and that person's integrity is gone, right? We can't take any action. It's once your reputation is gone, it is very hard to get it back, right? So we have to protect people's reputations and identities and all. So soon we have to bring these laws to get rid of these gossip sites and all. They are actually like cancer, right? We have to get rid of it. We have to stop misspreading news, false things. So integrity is as something like that. So to make sure that integrity is there, we use input validations, hashing, digital signatures, and all, right? And then availability. Things have to be available, right? In Sinhala, there's a famous saying, "Yuddhata nathi kaduwa koskota nathi kiyala," right? You have to have your data available with you all the time, right? If you can't access your bank, if you can't access your data, what good is it, right? You need it to do your work. So we make sure the availability is there, and there's something called authenticate AAA concept: authentication, authorization, audit. So this makes sure that the terms have very strict definitions in security. You can't interchange them, right? Authentication is making sure you are who you say who you are, right? Like now, I just logged into this saying Vidhu Karunaratne. I don't think none of you have seen me, right? You guys assume that I'm Vidhu Karunaratne, and since I speak about security or some sort, you assume that this is this person, right? There was no authentication. Where is this actual Vidhu Karunaratne? So anyway, you guys are in luck. Even though I may be Vidhu, I may not be Vidhu, but I still talk about security. So that is okay, I guess. Then there's the authorization part. What parts I have access to. Now, I was being authenticated, assuming that I am that person who I claim to be. And I was authorized as, I think, as yeah, I'm actually host. So I can do whatever I want, right? So I am like the admin, king of the jungle, pretty much in this uh, webinar, right? And then the access control, I have access to pretty much most of the things, right? I can see the list. I can see you guys' names and all. There's Subodh, who's at first year. Things fun. So there goes the AAA concept. So this is what we talk about security. The hosting guys, right? Host and organizers. I'm not blaming you or anything, right? I'm here to teach. I just took you as an example. Unfortunately, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. You guys are doing great. You guys are doing something to help your PA students. It's just I'm into security and I like jokes, right? That's about it. Okay? And then the accountability, what I talked about earlier, to make sure people do what they are supposed to do. We make sure we monitor them, we keep records, right? Now, I think when you write exams, they check, there's somebody who comes in and checks your ID, looks at your face and says, you look very different from your school ages because you have given your postal ID or the ID you made for your O levels, right? That is where we are anyway. That is the monitoring part, right? And then uh, that person gives you a paper to sign, and then maybe if we have some signed document earlier, we will tally with it and see whether you are that person and keeping a record, right? That's something you can do. Non-repudiation is something that would be new to you. That means you can't deny that you are yourself. It sounds weird. It's like this, right? Uh, you know the Sri Lankan, you guys might know the Sri Lankan hacking, right? When somebody leaves their laptop with Facebook logged in, you go in and post something, right? Or let's say you um, you guys have your emails, I assume, for the university. So you might have a batch email like an email group, and you will be sending an email saying you see your best friend leaving their laptop behind, email logged in, and you might quickly go as the cunning evil you are. You go and you type, "Hey guys, tea is on me today," and so everybody thinks that you are giving the evening tea for everybody, but whereas you are not. So now you have to have non-repudiation to say that who you did and what you did, right? Now it is not who you did it. So usually what we do is we have access control and a multi-factor authentication method previously. So maybe you lock
Recording
your laptop
stopped.
and then your fingerprint
Recording in
was there.
progress.
So something like that, right? You may Google these terms and learn. I'm just gonna lightly touch on them, right? Because I think I have about an hour left. So I'm at slide 13. I have about 40 to go. But these concepts are important, so you can either search something and learn later. It is what it is. That's why I'm taking on slowly. Okay, let's see. What do we have next? Okay. So these are the security concepts which I explained earlier. In the core, there's CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability, and then there's AAA. And then in the design side, we talk about higher level concept, which we call least privilege, just-in-time access, just enough access, and then trust nobody, which we call zero trust. If you have stalked my LinkedIn, you might see the header banner is zero trust. Then there's least command, weakest link securing. Those things are certain principles. Right? Now, some of you have talked about security trends and all, but it seems none of you have an idea how these trends come from, right? So my goal today is to teach you how these things come, right? Because you can hear, you can Google, you can see these things, but you need to understand where these things come from. So my goal today is to teach you how these things come. So there's a concept called defense in depth. Think of an onion, which makes you cry. Security makes you cry as well, but we are talking about an onion right now, right? So an onion is a layered one. You can see there's policies, procedures, and things, and then there's physical layer, right? What it is when you talk about this, you are HR, you are from a university, so your university might have put a rule saying you can't bring certain items inside the university. If you bring them, you will be banned for 2 weeks or whatever, right? So that those things will happen. Right? That's policies, procedures, and then we have the physical layer. You have a gate or and then there's a fence around. So you make sure that only the people with the campus IDs can come. Right? And then there's on the perimeter, we put firewalls, which you have seen earlier. You can see them. And then on the network layer, you have the VLANs and segmentation and segregation and all this. Then on the host level, we might have a host firewall or ports that are limitedly open, just assigned and all. And then there's the app and data. So we pretty much protect one by one. So this is the layer. So the thing with this is now you will have to see the data is inside, right? And then there's an app, and then there's host or anything. So they can't be in different places. It's like layer. And the funny thing is, as drawn, if somebody comes from this side, now if somebody is coming from this top side, it's all good, right? They have to come through the layers. Unfortunately, if somebody comes from this side, yeah, good luck to your data. That's the problem. So this is all. It is still being used, but it's all. Right? Now take a print screen or take this link. This says how we protect with all these technology names you hear, the trends, the fancy names you guys ask me in the questions. These are those fancy names. You can point to anywhere in this diagram and you can figure it out. This is, I believe, from UK. There's a good guy called Sean Van Niekerk. So Sean Van Niekerk has done this for multiple years. So this is, I believe, his latest one. You might hear these fancy words. You can see MFA and then ISC, ISO, and there's some things you might have. CSOC, what is usually people throw at you. EDR, PAM, DLP, then what? DLP, patch management, NDR, might have heard of these things, you know. So there are things, these are the trends and all to secure each of these layers. These are where the fancy words come, right? Okay. Still, your data is in the middle. Somebody comes from here, good luck. Yeah. So people figured out, this won't work, right? When the COVID came, the defense in depth part actually got a real hit because everybody was everywhere, right? Their homes trapped inside their home. So the zero trust actually got picked up. There are couple of companies that do research, like market research per se, what products are good, what are bad, right? You might say like this biscuit cream cracker from this company is good, this doesn't taste well. I've heard that many people are very divided on the taste of Mari, right? We have Maliban Mari, Manchi Mari, this Mari, that Mari, and people are at fighting levels about the taste of Mari and which Mari is good, certain like that, right? So everybody is everywhere, different flavors. You connect from ADSL, this guy connect from this and whatnot and all. So so we talk mainly about 5 things: data, people, devices, networks, and workloads. We don't trust any of this, right? How can we trust data when it is somewhere you don't, right? For example, now you are trusting me to be Vidhu Karunaratne. You guys don't know where I am unless you know my address, and you guys don't know what my capabilities are, and you guys assume that this is Vidhu who is speaking, since you guys have not heard my name, and since my webcam is turned on and covered, turned off and covered, you guys have no way of knowing it as well, right? So this data, you should not be trusting your weaving at it. People is me, device is my device, my network is where I'm connected as such to your thing. The workload is the Zoom meeting. So we should not be trusting anything. Ideally, right, there should be a vetting process to get this all, right? I hope you guys understand my example. Hopefully you get the idea. So to do this, we use these technologies: CAS-based Cloud Access Security Broker, MDMS, Mobile Device Management, which goes for devices. Then SSO, Single Sign-On. So to make sure that it is you that who is signing things. SIM, Security Information and Event Management, right? To see how the things are going on, to take an action. UEBA, User Entity and Behavior Analysis. So like if I was logging in from a different location, then I would be logging in. UEBA will trigger up. So this part is from Forrester, which is one of those Mari companies. There's another one called Gartner. There's another one you might have as KuppingerCole or NSS Labs. There are certain things. So Forrester is one of those companies. They came up with Zero Trust in 2010. This is the guy who came up with it, right? So that's how the Zero Trust came. And then you might always see like principle of least trust, least privilege, and Zero Trust Network Access, CTNA, those things, right? And then the other company is called Gartner, right? So that is another famous company. That is how this SASE comes, or SASE in Sri Lanka, or SASE as we call it, Secure Access Service Edge. Now it has 4 main components again: a secure web gateway which filters your traffic and make sure you go where they want to. Cloud Access Security Broker vets you at the access level. Zero Trust Network Access, make sure you are clean to log in from that network. And Firewall as a service. These are the 4 main components, right? This is what they have said, right? These are I think these things are public. You can get them and then you can figure it out. These notes are public. Okay. So why do we go with this one of these trends, right? Because breaches are inevitable. It will happen at any time. And when you have an architecture, you know where it will fail. Like you have an idea. When you build a house, you know how to build the house, where it is, what it is, and all. Your house has two doors, so you know usually it will be either from one of these doors or somebody came from a window, right? So you know where you will fail and things will be. So it is as such. And then we can monitor at layers if we have different depth or different things. We can monitor things. We can get an idea. Right? This is one of my favorite videos. You might have seen this before. It's by 10 cards. Now, see, when the password policy gets strict, harder for user to get in and out. Then we have access control, which we will have like through privilege access management or vetting the users. Then we have data leakage prevention, right? And then ISO 27K implemented very strict standards. And then your user brings a work from home device and everything goes out. Right? This happened during COVID for the most of the organizations, believe it or not. So basically bypassing everything, going up. So this is where we are at. Right? We are trying to figure things out. It's a cat and mouse game, right? So hackers always like sneak in, and then we try a way to block it out, and then we might take advanced controls, and hackers may find a different way to get in, right? It's the same person in both sides. Like if you have heard of it, like the best detective can be the best thief as well. It's just where they work, right? If you are working for the police or the law enforcement, you are a good detective. If you are working for a personal benefit, yeah, you are a good thief, right? That's what it is. Right. What is the role of security in IT? I'm just kidding. It's a part of every component. It's a major role in everything. It's a part of every component. Security is not something separate. Many people have this idea, they call it like security or we do security. It's separate. No, like everything has security, right? We'll take your home, right? There's a gate, or, I mean your campus, right? There's a gate, there's a security there. Then you come in and then, yeah, you can't just come to a class, right? Your yeah, instructor would see you. He will have a register and he will check, right? So every place of the, if you have been through an airport, right? Every gate, every place, your boarding pass will be checked when you are boarding, and as such, every place it will be checked, right? Just like security. Security is a part of everything, right? I have taken a picture from for the ISO 27001 2022 controls. So there are 4 control types: organizational, people, technology, and physical. When we put these controls, we control the interested parties' interest, right? So ISMS is a information security management system, which is very important when we talk about security in an organization. All you guys do for security is to create this ISMS, protect this ISMS, and develop this ISMS. That's the main goal, right? You can see maintain and it's a cycle. Maintain and improve security and policy objectives, risk assessment and controls, all these things. The big jargon is this is ISO 27001 jargon. It's under main controls. If you have know about it, there are 4 main types of controls, and there are 93 controls in it. They are to protect. It's for the security. There are other frameworks as well. Okay, now for the fun part. Right. So there are security technologies. There are firewalls, right? Which are you might want to learn about history and whatnot, right? Uh, Earliest in 1990s, there was packet filtering firewall. You will filter the packets, and then there are circuit level gateway. Then it came to stateful instruction firewalls, and then now pretty much everything can application level gateways or proxying firewalls, and then the next gen features, right? So they can see what are the application. They have the intelligence. That's what they say the next gen part, right? Now, if you talk about this earlier packet filtering first, this will be something that you make for a project, right? It will just see the port and it will see the IP and just block it or allow. That's it, right? But now everything is pretty much like almost everything. I mean, very rare to find anything else. Everything is a next gen firewall. They know like what are the traffic categories, what are the user groups, what is this user doing. They keep the logs, web browsing history, payloads. They can analyze threads, traffic. They do the SSL decryption in the firewall. So pretty much man in the middle attack in a firewall sort of a thing. So they do everything, and so that's where we are. And you may hear this antivirus EDR, XDR thing. Antiviruses are history. I don't think anybody have an antivirus anymore. We have at least next gen antiviruses. So antivirus is just a heuristic and database. It will check whether there's a malicious file, whether it is matching the hash of the file that database has. If it has, that's a bad file. If not, good file, right? Those things are gone. Right? And we are talking about EDR. There's AI and ML components involved. So EDR is still siloed. You can see they would know about one thing. So you can see in the normal antivirus level, it will be just, it will not see this chain. Phishing attack comes in, the email is open through Outlook. You download that Word document with the macro, and then the PowerShell gets launched. The command and control is checking in. It will launch. It will deploy itself here. So whatever it will search your storage like the local hard disk space and memory to steal any credentials, and then so on and so forth, right? After the credentials, the game is over. So EDR will know as in silos in each itself, but XDR can relate to everything, right? So it will know at each point. It is not siloed. That's the difference. These are the EDR advantages. I just get to the so the EDR you can see in this sort of like a diagram. Security analysis is like, okay, how the map was comprised. It came from this place and then went from this user to this user to this user, and then went to the middle containers and then go to the branch of this. Right? Now XDR is like this. So it will actually draw the map, right, like this, and then it will say how and where it goes on, and it will say like all these places would be visible, whereas here the security analyst manually figures out what has happened in all those places. Here it will be everything is automatic with the data. So don't use an antivirus anymore. Don't use the term even. Go for a EDR solution at least. And then you might hear about SIEMs all the time, security information and event management. This is how they grew over the time. It was first log storage and log management, then went to security information, security events, and then both. Now we talk about next gen SIEMs. This is like a heart of a SOC, Security Operations Center. It collects the logs from everything. It correlates, it normalizes the data, it makes sure all the timestamps are aligned and everything, and then correlates events and shows you what events have been happening and what can be a potential risky incident, so you can take an action. It is what it is, right? Not it is what it is. That is what the normal people say. So SIEM eliminates that. It makes sure that you filter your incidents are there. So there's something called SOA, security orchestration, automation, and response part. That is once you develop this SOC, you know what you do for some action every day. For example, you know there's this user who clicks on any advertisement that is on the internet, and every single day this person clicks on this ad and there's an alert. So you make sure that block is removed or something. You can automate that with a SOA. Right. And now there's traction for deception technologies. You might have heard of a honeypot, right? Honeypots are normal. That's all thing, right? Now it is deception technology. What happens is when an attacker attacks, now they are very intelligent. It will see what the attacker is trying to attack, and it will virtually create one of those things so the attacker can attack. So it is like if somebody wants to hit you and you want to get punched, like sort of a thing, they will like open yourself so they can punch. So you can learn their ways, how they punch, what they do. So this is as such. So people will be learning this, and it will take that information and protect other things. So let's say I am attacking this. The deception technology is protecting the real ones by having a decoy. It will spin them up in a cloud or virtual appliance or a physical appliance as the attacker goes, and it will set the path as they do. Like in a game, which path you select, the game progresses. It will progress and it will learn these actions, like you can see, and then it will given to this controller, and then they will know the ways of the hacker, so the next time they can't do that. So that is the deception technology. And this is a big thing with the banks these days with the government regulations, privilege access management. Let me get rid of this. Right. Privilege access management. This would work. So what it means is a very simple thing, right? When you have privilege accounts, what we call admin accounts, right? You can do whatever in that server or your endpoint or anything. So we make sure we take all those usernames and passwords to one place. If you are using KeePass or like KeySafe or anything like a password vault, this is an advanced version of it. You can see the password vault here, right? So if you want to take the password for this server, you have to go through this password vault, and then after a little while, you get multi-factor authentication to access this, and then you see you are recording it. You have put a firewall. Like that, we make sure the privilege accounts are safe. Nobody can access it unless you have access to this vault, and access to this vault is limited and protected and audited. We call them like immutable locks, so they can't be changed. We know who accessed what. Right? That is there. And then security in cloud. I explained this a little bit earlier with the responsibility matrix. So again, there's secure web gateways, next gen secure web gateway, cloud access security broker, cloud security, private access. So these are key terms and trends you will hear. So secure web gateway is sort of like, think of like a VPN, and it will filter the unnecessary traffic and make sure that you go to only the places that are allowed to. It's a client that is installed in your agent installed in your laptop. First, Gatsby at the cloud, it will make sure that the access is limited and given accordingly to the rules. And then private access is that kind of makes that people who are supposed to access with it are only accessing it. And then because there are other things like RBI, remote browser isolation, sort of those things. There are so many technologies involved around it. Just have an idea that these things are here, because it will be too much and it will take too long to talk about all of these. And then there's threat hunting. Now in Sri Lanka, there are many SOC operations going for the foreign countries and everything. There are companies that are doing operations. So threat hunters are there. You might hear about L1, L2 analysts, and then threat hunting and all these things, IOCs and all. So this is sort of like a threat hunting diagram, which was done by a tool that is freely provided by Microsoft. This is something I have done like way back earlier for something Equifax data breach about 5-6 years ago. So you see how it works. Threat inters and threat models. You might have heard of something called sticks and taxi. Right? There's a protocol and it's a JSON, and then taxi the protocol trusted information exchange of information. So those are used, and something you will hear a lot will be TTPs, techniques, tactics, and procedures. you will hear about MITRE framework. That is again talking about these TTPs. It's a very famous thing, and a great tool to find APTs, advanced persistent threats. Right. Okay. So this is a question I got. You can take a print screen and it says there what it does. So pretty much when you put red and blue, if you have done colors in your childhood age, you get purple. So we can't, unless you are a huge organization, you can't maintain red and blue teams. They get paid very well. They are very expensive people, red teamers and blue teamers. Good people are very expensive. Anybody in security is kind of expensive. Um, and the burnout is high. The fatigue, we call it the alert fatigue. They get tired seeing the same alert over and over, and the dashboard fatigue. They see so many dashboards, so they quickly burn out. They get tired, so they go out. So it's hard to maintain these teams, and so you have to. Security is a good business anyway, both sides. So this is how a team is compromised. This red team in purple team in blue team. I'm not going to say what is in the slide. You can read it leisurely. Okay. Okay. This is a cyber kill chain by Lockheed Martin. Pretty much sort of that. There's a process of it's 7 steps. There's a company called Lockheed Martin. If anybody has watched that Top Gun and all, the fighter jets are made at Lockheed Martin. They made this cyber kill chain, the concept. So its 7 steps are reconnaissance, weaponization, payload, exploitation, installation, CNC or C2, and action, right? So what happens is when I want to attack someone, let's say I want to hack into somebody's organization, I do reconnaissance, right? For example, let's say I want to attack a bank, right? Whatever the bank it is. So what I do is reconnaissance. I do a ping sweep, I do port scan, then I look at the pay pads, last pay pads. Who have they hired for IT? In the job, it will say, okay, we are looking for an IT admin who can do Microsoft SQL Server and Windows Server 2016. Okay, so I know that this bank has Windows Server 2016 and MS SQL Server. So I need to get vulnerabilities that are about SQL Server and Windows Server 2016. And then now I scan them and all. Now I know what they have by looking at the paper advertisement for their, or the, what do you call that, top jobs advertisement. And then now I create a weaponization. I have to find a common exploit which have been built for Windows Server 2016 and exploit that actually works. I take it, I customize it to the bank's, the way I think the bank would work, and then I deliver it as a payload. What do? I send an, HR people are not very tech savvy usually. My On a side note, we have 3 loud people at KBSL Information Technologies. Those are not the people I am mentioning. I'm just saying in general, maybe the HR or accounting people are the most vulnerable. They are not tech savvy. So I will send them an email, right? For HR, if I would be sending an email saying, attach is my resume, and I would load it with the macro and send it in a Word. If I am sending it to the account department, I would be like, I would put in the title, attention, deadline notice, payment required, and then I will attach a macro and send the Word document. So these people get scared, obviously open it and run it with the macro. I am good as gold. I am inside their network. Then the whatever the script I put is exploited. It's installed, and then I have the command and control. I can slowly get their data, what we call data exfiltration or so slow data leak. I can get them. Now, if you remember, like the 2019 SolarWinds attack and all, they have been there for an year or so. They have been slowly taking the data. You can see the reconnaissance and the weaponization payload takes hours to months, right? Exploitation is seconds. You double click it, 1 second I am in, right? And then for months we will be taking the data, right? Actions, we will take your data and all this. So this is called the preparation phase, intrusion phase, and then there's an active breach. This is the time it costs, and this is how the attack works. This is how we break down an attack. So it's this concept of Lockheed Martin. This is where I got the image from. And this was another question. They wanted to know about the hats, right? So I'm not just going to speak about it. You can take a print screen. Things to important note is like the white hats are good guys. Gray hat, maybe, you don't know. Black hat are the bad guys. Red hat are like Superman or Batman or anything, whatever the man is. Or woman, Wonder Woman also. They want to fight with this black hat. So they may take legal ways, they may not take legal ways. So whatever the method that have the approach, they will fight with the black hats, right? The green ones are like people like us, right? We take somebody's attack and we copy paste it, customize it an attack. We call them script idiots, right? So those are the things. Okay, this is where I got the image from. Okay, so you guys need a break or what? How does it work? You guys are tired or you want to hear me say something? It's about an hour after I start. Oh, almost an hour.
No, sir, let's continue.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Give me a second. Let's see. Right. So this was something given to me by your organizing pen. Okay. I'll be answering with this part number one. This I will not answer because I am not the guy you should ask about AI. Cybersecurity, yes. I have no idea about AI. I'm not a qualified. What are the industry? Okay, not this. Okay, I will answer number one, number five, number seven, number number seven, number 12, number 11, number 15. I already answered this. Number 16. I have not answered about networking. Sorry about that. I'm a security guy pretty much. But to answer your question, software-defined networking. That's pretty much it is. Software-defined everything. Software-defined data center, software-defined networking. Everything is software-defined these days. So that is what networking is going. And now open networking platforms, right? You don't want to be like, you guys have mentioned this commercial stuff, CCNA, that's Cisco, right? Things. Nobody wants to be locked into that. So open networking, that side is they are looking. So 16 I answered. Are there any programming languages that we should specialize in? Yes. Now, don't take my word for it. I can just give you advice. In my opinion, personal opinion, you should master Bash, PowerShell, Python, not in that order. PowerShell is very powerful these days. You can run my PowerShell used to be only Windows, but it is now everywhere, right? And then Bash, obviously, and then Bash is scripting, not Bash, Bash is scripting, and then Python. And if you can learn JavaScript, that's golden, and learn how the APIs work, right? Those five things I can do. So 16 is good, 17 is good. How important is hands-on experience of API training, cybersecurity, and how can it gain such a? Okay, I'll tell that later. Good. Okay. Umesha, mark those questions, right? You mark them, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Right. So let's get. Now, take a good print screen of this. I'll just hold about 30 seconds in you get it. This part I will provide definitely slides and right. So there's an organization called CompTIA, right? That's not a vendor. That is just a sort of like non-profit sort of a way, like neutral party which does certifications. If you have ever heard of A Plus, Network Plus, and Security Plus, yes, this is the company that does it. As security individuals who are interested in security, you should have the baseline of a Security Plus knowledge. If you are into networking, you start with a Network Plus. If you are into service delivery, service desk, systems, troubleshooting, you have to have an A Plus. Speaking of me, I have all, right? Way back, about 14 years ago, I got my A plus. See, they have clearly shown what the paths they have to see. So it is updated actually last month. It's last month. People who are in cybersecurity now, you guys have asked what path I should take, what are the how the certifications take. This is one, right? So this is vendor neutral. This doesn't in Sinhala terms it says කාටවත් කඩේ යන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපි හිතනවා, right? So this is how you do, right? When you are a beginner, you do A plus, and then you go get better, you do Linux, and you do server, and then network plus, security plus, server plus, CISA, then Caspian, right? Security part. Other things I'm not going to speak about, although I am good with infrastructure, because we are focused on security, I will just only mention that. You can see that this does not say per se like networking, right? There's a reason, right? Because in cloud, pretty much it is blended into DevOps side, right? There's no separate networking. And when you do security, you need to understand the systems and networking. Without that, you can't do security because security is built into everything, right? 3-4 years back, this has a separate network track, right? Okay, take a good screenshot of this link as well if you want. So you guys like this company a lot, right? You guys use it daily. In fact, I'm using it as well. Okay. So this is a screenshot of that, right? You have the fundamentals, role based and specialty based. The good thing is you can get these free. All the 900 certifications you can get it free. I'll show you the way after, like when we have the Q&A session, right? After the good part comes in the Q&A session where we can speak freely. You guys can talk to me. I can talk to you in whatever the languages we prefer. We will talk about how to get free certifications, how to get coupons and all the good stuff. We'll talk it later, right? So the 900 months are free. Speaking of myself, I did them last year actually. I got AC 900, AI 900, DP 900, and SSC 900. All for you can write it from home as well. This is how you go about. So you start with fundamentals AC 900, and then you move in any direction it wants, right? So you can go. My favorite thing is security. It's my passion, so I would do AC 900 and go beyond to maybe AC 200. I would do if I think about it, but I want to be an architect, so I would do is identity is a big thing these days. Controlling how the identity is. If you have heard of IAM, Identity and Access Management, or Identity Governance, it's a big thing now. So Azure Directory or Active Directory or anything that does it, AWS services. So I would do SC300 and SC100 sort of. So you can follow these things. All right. People like to be, you guys saw how many questions I got about Cisco. So here's the way how you become a Cisco guy, right? Here, there's the path. Now the actual question about Cisco is, Let's see. Let's go a couple of Cisco questions. Man, Cisco should just throw you guys a party. Okay, when we select networking pathway, why CCNA is compulsory? Who said CCNA is compulsory? Nobody said CCNA is compulsory. You think CCNA is compulsory? Why? You either learn at a networking academy that is sponsored by Cisco, or you learn about the Cisco things and you have heard about CCNA, right? That's it. We call about XNA, Extreme Network Associate, or HP Networking, Aruba Networking. There are so many networking other companies, Fortinet, all those are networking companies and all. Actually, now most of the companies look for the certification that is in their environment. Cisco is a very expensive product. Not everybody can afford it. Very few afford it. They actually have a great certification company. You guys take certifications, you get buy books from them, and their certification program you see on the screen, right? They are a very good university, I would say, right? They sell lots of courses to you and get money. I think $300 is a CCNA these days, if I'm not mistaken. I can be wrong, right? And then, so we actually look for the things that we have. Like there are so many vendors out there. For firewalls, if you are talking about, there are three main players in the world, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, and Fortinet. And there are so many other people as well. Sophos, Forcepoint, Hillstone, SonicWall. There are so many vendors. So they have their own certification, which actually some are free as well. You don't have to pay. For example, if you are a Sophos partner, you get them free. SonicWall, you get them free, right? We actually hire those guys to service those things because Cisco stuff is expensive. CCNA is not compulsory. You know why it is required? Because people only know it here in the HR. So they do a control F and see whether you have CCNA. So what you can do is you can get certified for any other, like a networking certification. And now the what HR, HR might be having a bot, right? Put in brackets. How do I do this? Okay, let's get a. Um, if I open a Word document, that would be easier for you, right? In your resume, what you do is, let me get a blank document for you guys. So the HR people are looking for CCNA, right? So you think you want to buy CCNA, right? You actually buy it, right? You pay $300 and then you buy, right? You study, yes, you buy. So what you do is, so right. So there's a bot scanning when, because there was a question. What was the question? Hmm. Yes. Here, career opportunities in the foreign and local job market. Is it hard to apply for a foreign job? And then there was another one. Here, good. Are CCNA, CCNP, and other Cisco courses accessible for future jobs in our country? What kind of place is there for that, right? There's obviously place. No harm in doing it if you have the money and go for it by all means. But if you don't, let's say XNA is free, Extreme Certified Network Associate, that is free. Right? If you have XNA and you apply for a foreign job, in foreign countries, there's no human being actually vetting your resume, right? So this is, so I'm gonna get the first person I see. Oh, that would be, okay, that is, I think there's a person called Mangal. So Mangalan, resume, right? So that's blah, that's me. Then I don't care. And then you write XNA, right? So you think you need a CCN. Put in the bracket. This is equal to the knowledge that is given for Cisco by Extreme, right? Extreme again is a Gartner leader for networking. So you put CCNA equivalent, right? Let's see. I think it's wrong. Anyway. can put EQ, whatever. Right? So the bot reading through this would read through this and it will say, okay, this person has CCNA, take it in, right? In the interview, you can say you have XNA, which is CCNA equal. If it is, if you have XNP, I believe, you can put CCNP equal, right? Simple. That is how you go through the first hurdle of HR with your resume. All you have to be is smart about your resume. So that part is done. Did I answer your question? I hope so. If not, just put a question in the box. Let's get into security, serious security, right? Elan Security, one of my favorite companies, which does good certifications, actually great certifications about security. We start with EJPT, Elan Security Certified Junior Penetration Tester, right? The course's name is EPTS, that's why it says Penetration Testing Student. This is where you start your journey. If you want to be a hacker, if you want to be good at it, first thing is you learn, study, you read a lot. By learn and study, I don't mean by going to university or anything. You study by yourself because nobody can teach you hacking and stuff. Pretty much you learn it yourself. But a good guidance would be the EPTS, which is free. And now it is kind of behind the paywall, but I think it's still cheaper. You would start at EJPT and not. If you have heard about that OSCP, because there was a question. Oh, Kali Linux. See. I think I can still search on this, right? Yeah, it was. Here. I want to know about Kali Linux and what the ethical and unethical hacking tools and systems are. Okay. Kali Linux. If you want to learn about it, I got so tired of people asking. I'm not blaming you. Don't take me the wrong way. People used to ask me so much about it. I was so tired about it. So I got so tired about it. What I did was, when COVID came, I actually wrote an article about it. I was that tired about it. So here we are. You can go to my profile and there's, this is how much I was tired of it and how people was asking because they had GPUs and it did work. It crashed because you guys are using GNOME, where you should have used XFCE from the beginning. So go ahead, read this article, you can figure it out. Now, there are better articles because this was written actually 3 years ago by myself and it takes 23 minutes to read. There are easy articles now. Go ahead and read. That would support certain stuff of yours. Get rid of this. If you want to know about Kalyan, yeah, Google it. Security will not come to you in a class. If you think you can learn security in a class, you have greatly mistaken. Right? Yeah. By the way, I'll confuse you as there's something called ParrotOS, which is people think say more about it. So you can use this if you don't like Kali. There's ParrotOS, and to be honest, you can use a Windows year one. Just when you are attacking or practicing attacks, don't try it on real stuff. Use a VMware workstation and virtual machines. Geez, second. I hope I have Workstation Pro. Um, okay, while it is below, you can see there are things I have installed. Now, this is that person's favorite thing. You can see I run Kali as well. I like it, so I run it. You don't have to. You can use Parrot as well or Ubuntu or anything. I personally do an Ubuntu. I install the application I want. Only thing Kali does is it gives you all in one place, right? So it is like a supermarket. You go and buy everything there, easier. So Kali is pretty much there, right? So VMware workstation and all. By the way, uh, you can do this, so you go to Google, right? Okay. You say VMware workstation Pro. You have to buy. But you see, the first thing says something. What will happen if I click on? I will go to a GitHub page, right? The first thing is a GitHub page. My goodness, look at that, right? I can register this great program for free as well. Right? Who knew? I just accidentally, for the record, since this is being recorded, only thing I did was Google VMware Pro 17 and this thing came up. That's the only thing I did. So that is about that. Let's see. We don't say more. Unless I'm doing a demo. Later, if people stick, they want demos of things. Right. I answered this part. Ethical and unethical hacking tools and systems. Okay. Any tool can be ethical or unethical, right? When I use my knife to cut, let's say, mango, it's ethical. If I stick that knife into somebody else, that is unethical. The tools are the same, right? You can use it for both ways, depends on how you use it. Okay, that is systems are. You are good with Kali and Parrot. I would just use an Ubuntu. Kali's kind of sometimes bothersome. That's okay. So I covered that part. The security, that is done. Now to the good stuff. Okay. Give me like a minute or so. I get some water and you can take a print screen.
Sure, sir.
Let's see. Okay. Shehan, your question I will be addressing. Vihangi, good question. I really appreciate you, what you are doing, representing, and putting this question. Just so you know, I will be answering this as well. Right? In case if these people leave, also, Umesha take note of these questions as well. Right.
Sure, sir.
Right. Okay. So I took a print screen in case I lost the connectivity or so. What I'm gonna do? Give a second. That's the parent thing. Go all. So there was a user in the famous site called Reddit, if you have heard of it. This is You Sign Care Life. His actual name is Paul Jeremy. He actually took his effort. I would like to mention, I would like to thank him again. I even contributed to this map and the other map I'm going to show you later. He's a great person. He took his time and he got a domain and made this thing. So this is how you get certified in security, right? There are 473 certifications that have been listed as of January 2023. You start from bottom and you work your way up, right? If you want to go in network, which you guys are, you can start it Network Plus. If I click this link, right, it will go to that site, right? So it says CompTIA Network Plus. It's a $390 exam. You click it, it will go to the place, CompTIA place, right? Okay, so let's say if you are a Fortinet person, you want to do NSE 7, it is $400 exam. You click it, it will go there. If you are a Juniper person, you can do SGNC there. Okay, Juniper Networks. Then you have that, what your favorite one, Cisco here, right? Palo Alto. This is Palo Alto. That is something I. There should be some checkpoint on that CPO. Anyway, right? That's one networking, guys. If you are in coding side, development side, you want to get into security operations, blue team, red team, you want to go after that fame, you want to be a hacker, these are the red stuff. You start with, I would suggest, I would say EJPT. Here, go for EJPT straight up, $250. Go for there, don't bother with these things, right? And then you can work your way up. Here, can go for the blue teamers, can go for CHF5. It is okay. Come on. That is 650 or yes, ECDP. CDP. Here. You can go for this as well. I would personally go for this. It's easy. You learn things and all. You get to be working with the programs like Volatile Sense and all those. I'm very much into this blue team part. I really like it. Unfortunately, with my career and all, I can't do much blue team stuff. But I delivered a lecture last year. I think maybe some of you have joined it. Last November, I delivered a lecture on, I think, last November, last year, or the year before, about forensics, how to do forensics, right? Something I really do. And then software security, for the software guys, it is what it is. I'm not a software guy. I have not learned that much. Unfortunately, that was a major mistake I did. So I hope you guys don't do that mistake. Learn coding. Python is great. Learn how APIs talk. Then what else? Bash, PowerShell. Those would be important. And then if you are going to GRC and risk management, GRC is here, right? Governance, risk and compliance. That's GRC. So you can do this. Now CISSP is the great certification everybody talks about. It's called, it said it is equivalent to a master's certification. So great certification, or you can do like Security Plus. So it's a good one to start with, right? So all your details, what you asked for is here, right? I gave you the link. You can click on anything and you can learn. It's up to you to learn. Okay. Right. Moving forward in cybersecurity. Yeah. Hold on a second. Now, okay. I think I have to answer number one. Number two, no. Three, I can't answer. I lack the number. What are the industry instruments that are ranges for information security carried? Depends on how hard you work, how dedicated you are, how passionate you are, and all. For example, anyway, I opened my LinkedIn. So a couple of you guys have browsed my LinkedIn. So anyway, right? I'll take myself an example because then nobody can sue me. If I take myself an example, that is easy. Okay, I'm already there. So what? So if you go to my profile, you can see my education at some salary value, right? And license and certification, you see the number, existing number. So that has to be counting for something, right? So most of these are because I work for different companies and given for me free, or some I paid like Azure and all, right? Or did like, let's see, I think let's see how we figure out. Right, so these things I obviously paid. They add value. A plus, Network plus, Security plus. Then ISC Square certified in cybersecurity, which was given for free lately. Then I have CEH, which I paid for. Palo Alto, PCNSC, right? Those things. So yeah, you have more, you can demand more. You have less, you kind of can't demand more, right? So it depends on what you do, right? No, it's not like a government job. You apply for this, I have NVQ level this, I should get this salary. No, that won't happen, right? You have certifications, you get paid. You are talented, you get paid. You are dedicated, you get paid. If you are smart, you get paid, right? That's how it is. But to give an answer, I think around, here's the thing. To get into security, you need to know networking and systems both. right? If you can't execute a Linux command, if you don't know the event IDs of Windows, or if you can't do the admin things, and if you don't know how the network works, right? I can't get you into security, because how are you going to analyze an event, right? So you need to learn both. So obviously it is higher than the networking guys and the systems guys or whoever. I'd say like at least 80,000 is starting, then go up above. And if you go like, if you work for out of country, yeah, then there's more. So I think there are like a site that tracks the salaries, right? Sri Lankan salaries. I remember there were like two sites, one GitHub site, I mean GitHub page or something. Let me let's search for it. Like I don't know whether Glassdoor has anything. So Glassdoor is another great site for your question. Glassdoor has jobs and salaries, ranges, and all. You can go to Glassdoor and then long IT salaries. Let's see. Wait. Mm, So there's a Glassdoor link and then salaries for it's actually somebody in Sri Lanka made something. So you can figure out. I don't yeah, so right. Yeah, was right. And then I have to figure out what questions I need. So this I answered, no need. This I do right now. This I will. Hold on. Okay, this I will answer now. I showed it. I will show this in future, like 3 slides. What qualifications are expected? I will say that. Okay, right. Let's go. Right. Take a good print screen of this, please. It's the same site we went to earlier for Jeremy, right? Same site. So if you took print screen earlier, we are already good to go. Right. So what you do, you go here. You go to IT career. See, you guys can see. This is Glassdoor average on April 2022, and a year ago on US, right? You can get the idea of how your careers are progressing and all. So if you started as software guys, where are you? Well, this actually is about security. We'll see. Software guys are good at usually coding and stuff, so you can start system testing and evaluation, basically QA. So security control, if you start in testing, you can go here and then you can go here. If you are in dev, you can start junior software developer, and senior software developer. You can see the US salaries on above here, this scale, right? So I would like to be one day like a solution architect or security architect. So I can figure out, okay, it is here. What I currently perform is at junior security, like security architect level, sort of. But so if I go to US, I'll be very good, doing very well. So you can figure out your path and we move on. Okay, so take a print screen if you want. This is 2020. The one we watched was 2020 in right now in his website. So this is his username. Before he used to do it as this, I had an old copy. I included this. The reason is network guys are here, so I have to support them. So you will start as a network intern. You will be a network technician, and then you will become a network technician, then network analyst, then senior network analyst or a technician, and then you will go to a network admin or a NOC engineer, and then move on as such, right? So networking guys, this is pretty much how it would go. Systems guys who are in DevOps or systems, this is how you would go. Virtualization engineer is a good thing, right? And then security guys, this is the blue way. So this was the old method. Now it is more granular and detailed with the current thing. But for you guys, this is easier to understand. Right. Okay. This is another one of your questions. Right. This is the list of trending sort of jobs, right? I was so lazy to write them. So what I did was I went to ChatGPT and told ChatGPT to generate me a list, and I took out the ones that are not in Sri Lanka. Right. So these are the ones you can find in Sri Lanka, not necessarily by Sri Lankan companies, by foreign companies hiring in Sri Lanka as well. So these are good stuff. For you guys, you would start at L1 analyst. This is number 4. Number 3 is almost same, right? Incident responder, same pretty much thing. And then this, some people hire, you will be training just like me. You would be teaching other guys, number 6. And then app development guys can be AppSec or MobileSec engineers, right? And if anybody is doing law degree, yeah, cybersecurity law would be established and you will have great chances. But depending on the country you practice, for example, if you are going to practice in Sri Lanka, you have to know the law of Sri Lanka. If it is like internationally, like in a different country, you have to know it, right? Depends on. The other skills are transferable, not country related. But if you are an attorney, the law of the land is going to be an issue, right? These are the jobs you can go for. I'd say start with junior pen tester, security analyst, SOC analyst, incident responder, auditors, accounting guys. If you have connections in the big 4, you know what I'm talking about. So if you go to a big 4 one, this would be a great start at number 5, information security auditor. And then number 40, number 11 and 12 is for software guys, right? Right. I think somebody asked this. Let me check how that person is doing. Here. What qualifications are expected for information security jobs? And there was here. What are the basic skills and qualifications that we need to apply for an internship? I usually sit in interview boards as well. I interview you guys too. So we don't actually look what you do, right? We check your attitude because we can teach things to you, right? That's why you are getting an internship anyway to learn. Right? So we are good at teaching you, and we will give you the resources. What we mainly look at is whether you are curious about things, right? You want to go get something. You think about it, right? You want to learn it, curious. You whatever we say, you don't take it at the word. You actually examine it, right? And then if you think different, right? We don't need the sheep. We need somebody who actually checks things. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. If you heard a meow, that was not me. That's my cat. Right. Okay. Attention to detail. Right. When you are an analyst, the word is there. You are analyzing things, right? So you need to be putting your attention to those little details, right? What a different indicator of compromise, right? IOCs, different indication, different event, something which is out of the norm, right? Attention to detail is required. Adaptive to variety, right? You can't be like, oh, I did CCNA, I will only look at Cisco stuff. If you buy something else, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you won't be lasting long in this career. Right? You have to be adaptive to the ever-growing career and different technologies and all. And we look for hunting skills. You have to go and figure out things and all. We are not there to feed you, right? we can't be feeding you all the time, because if I'm telling you to do your job, how to do your job, right? I don't need to pay for a person who is educated. I can get a just a school dropout, and so because I'm telling anyway, right? I can get that guy to do things. And then stress and failure. When you are in security, it's always stressful, right? You will be working day and night. For example, I, I was busy with the work, and I had to prepare these slides. I slept at 5:30 in the morning today, and I woke up at 7 in the morning today itself, right? I slept 1.5 hours for the last, let's give or take, about last 40 hours. It is what it is, right? That's the stress. And you might fail a couple of times, right? Those are the things we look for. If you think we are looking for CCNA and all, no, we can even give coupons for you to get it, right? We have partnerships and all with certain ones. We have vendor relationships. We can get you free coupons to do those certifications, right? We actually look for what we can't be, your attitude, pretty much. And then, okay. I kept this last, lazy and paranoid. This is something one of my mentors taught me. Lazy means you watch TikTok all day, or you do TikTok all day in your seat. Lazy means a lazy person would figure out easy way to do something, right? See, I'm really lazy, right? So I don't like to do things manually. I always try to automate things. So I create templates and all. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm lazy, so I don't want to do manual work. So I automate things. I will write a script and get things done. And paranoid is very required in security, because it is somebody hacking your network, trying to hack your network, trying to get into your data, right? So you have to be little bit of paranoid and evaluate things. So that is very much required for security. Other things are for any job. Okay, let's go to the next one. And this is answering the most important question, I would say. One of the basic skills and steps to go through the pathway, and hands-on experience and practical training. All these are answered by this. Security tools are very expensive. Like, trust me, I sell them for a living, right? They are very, very expensive. So you can't buy SIM and practice at home. What you do is you get Vasu. You know, uh, give me a second. So I could have done, right? So this is an open source SIM platform. You can watch videos in YouTube, and you can download this. It's a small thing, and then you can maybe integrate to your own PC and virtual machine and practice on integrating and all these things by yourself, right? Nobody is going to come teach you, and there are no courses or anything. If you want to survive in security, you have to do it by yourself. And that will answer the other part of that question where it says, how much am I getting paid? There's the thing. Yeah, somebody asked, I answered it earlier. So if you do this by yourself and I see you have done this, yeah, you are going to get hired easily, very quickly. But make sure don't put Liza, because we can actually check them as well. This is my 14th, 15th year doing this, so I know if you know this. Right? So if you are practicing this, we know very well. Let's go to the slides back again. Okay. So set up a home lab. VMware Workstation, I showed it, right? How to set up a home lab. You can Google, YouTube, anything, right? And then there's TryHackMe, which is, I think, still free, but the subscription, they just raised the prices last month. They used to be $8, and now I think they are $12 also per month. I think. Hack the box is little bit difficult, I think. So THM is easier. That is what I think, right? Doesn't matter. So you can try either. That's fine, or both. And vulnerability boxes you find, like what do you call it in Sri Lanka? The capture the flag, CTF, right? So vulnerability boxes, and then if you go for an internship like in KBSL Information Technologies, you might have the chance through the portals to do free certifications. You can learn them, and then LinkedIn, social media, partner portals, you get these things. That's how I get certain ones. For example, like Microsoft Learn always post things, so on LinkedIn, so you can go get them. Palo Alto, they give offers and all. Then YouTube, obviously, and then Udemy, Coursera, edX, LinkedIn Learning, they give free courses. You might not get the certification, yes, but you will still get the learning. And we would not ask you at an interview for a certification. Nobody asks for a certification. We just want to know whether you actually know the thing. So we will actually ask about how you did this, how you did that, and if you can answer, that is it. We don't care about your certificate. I mean, right? Anybody can do it if they follow it. So we just want to make sure that you actually know it. So that's about it. If you say if you have a home lab, and in the interview, if you actually show us your VMware Workstation home lab, um, chances are you are 100% getting hired, right? And because we know you know how to do things. Now, useful links. I put bunch of links. I'll share these parts with you. So there's this great site, I know, google.com. When you put any query, it will usually find something. And then there's these sites, YouTube, DFIR Science, Nullbyte, Network Chuck. I've seen people, and there's a great teacher who teaches in Sinhala as well. I have seen him. Uh, I don't know him per se personally, but I know there's a person. Two people, Sri Lankan. I think what you call them is instructors. I think. Um, Let me see. Actually, I think I can. Yeah. Uh, I I I have not met these people personally, or I don't endorse them, but I've seen like this person does a great job. He actually has now 22 hours ago he has posted free Microsoft exams, and then 3 days before he has posted this. And yeah, see, so there are people who actually follow him and all. So I have seen. So you can follow people like this, or like you can follow. Thanks here, right? You can follow these people, and they provide coupons and all of the vendors. Maybe like follow Cisco, or like Fortinet or whatever. Any vendor, you can follow them and see. Right? You can get the coupons, get the ideas and everything. I think there was I saw I have seen another instructor. Let me try know his name. Right. Uh, yeah. So this person, I really appreciate that what they are doing. I don't know them personally or anything. So he posted about 80% discount, and then book. Then there is a coupons and all. So that's great. So and you might have friends, like usually I post things. If I see a coupon, I post them. Right. So for example, like API security, API security, that's a free one. You can go and get it. Right. I'll actually show you. Please, I talk about API. So, that was nothing. So, API sec. API sec. This one. Uh-huh. So they give free certification. And you can learn API security, and it's very critical these days. So It's a free course, you can learn. There are lots of free resources. We don't care if you pay for it or not. We just check for the thing. And then there's eLearn Security, which I talked about there, Mapano. You can go to PJPTS, which is free training. You have to pay for that. Sort of. Okay. I've seen about network chat, 7-minute security training. There's a site called My Cyber Resources. It's new, right? It's another person, like Paul Jeremy. He started it he wanted to help people, so he has started this. So he actually collects these resources, right? So if you want to know about these things, like references, learning, you can click on them. So he's still building the site, but you can see that. Yes, benchmark, try hack me learning platform, Microsoft CISO workshop training, Azure security pillar, right? He posts things, whatever the free stuff he can learn, right? So media, those things. So find something like this, right? I usually use LinkedIn, right? Whatever the time you guys spend on Facebook or Instagram, I spend on LinkedIn to improve my career. ChatGPT is great. It answers your questions. And then blogs. I would recommend all 5 of these because I go to all 5 of these. But there are many more. If you are listening to podcasts, great. I'm not a podcast guy, but if you listen to them, great. Blogs, these are not the only ones. Again, I believe, let's see. It's just I go to these 5. Let's see. You can see. Okay, we'll Google it. We'll say top 10 security docs. So look at it. University of San Diego. So that is like a top 25 university. UC San Diego, UCSD as we call it. So let's see. Daniel Mitzi, Graham Cooley, IT Security Guru is there. Security Weekly, Hacker News, so online. So, you can see Krebs on Security is there, Naked Security is there by Sophos, Dark Reading is there, Wired is there. See? Figure out like 1 or 2 and what do you call it? Net Gossip. Net Gossip එකට යන්න නැතුව උදේට මේ වගේ එකකට ගියා. That would be right. So that is about that. Okay, Q&A, right? If you see any cybercrimes, please report it to cert.gov.lk, which is where our Sri Lankan entity for computer emergency response team. CERT means that, so report it to that. You can report incidents at these emails. Social media security incidents, please report it to that. Abuse or anything. If you lost your mobile, this is the place you need to go. If you see anything harmful for a minor or anything, please report it to Childline as a community service, right? Let's see the questions. Right. Basic skills. I answered this question. Are there gender differences in job opportunities in this networking field? No. Because some companies don't want to give jobs to women. Name them. I would say name them. Equal opportunity, right? But in relationship to Sri Lanka, there's an issue. I think there was a similar one. Hold on. Before I answer it. Here. So these two kind of look similar. The reason is this. Now since the networking guys are here, usually the firewalls and network switches and routers itself falls under you, right? Now, when we are servicing this equipment, you don't get to service them, upgrade their firmware, make a change at daytime. Usually, the typical Sri Lankan downtime is between 1 to 3 in the morning, right? That's when the traffic is the lowest. So you upgrade the production one. If you recall, I showed you the environment, right? There are two devices, right? High availability configuration. So you upgrade one, you make sure it's working, and then you upgrade the second one. You don't get to do this in like at middle of the day. It will be on like a least traffic day, pretty much like a Sunday morning or a like let's say Thursday morning, 1 to 3 in the morning, right? That's when you get the downtime, right? So if you are a female or women, as the question mentioned, if you are willing to go at that time to go do the downtime, people will hire you. The reason is with the Sri Lankan nature, it is tough to travel for women, especially like last week that went, there was a child murder or like a homicide. So like a girl, a homicide. So those things, the society is not well enough or good enough for you to travel at night. If you have a safe way to travel, obviously most companies provide, like for us it's Pick.me, right? Or some companies may provide Uber or Kangaroo or whatever it is, right? We do, as we provide, and we have a healthy amount of engineers. We have lady engineers who go and do these tasks, right? The only thing is, it is up to you. Are you willing to travel at night? Are you willing to work at night time? Then no, yeah, we are fine. If you want to go home at 5, yeah, then as an engineer, you have to go for a downtime, and then we are one engineer short because never a downtime has come in my life in a daytime, right? I've been in the industry for like 15, 16 years. I have never done a downtime in a daytime unless it broke down actually in daytime. Yeah, you get the downtimes, planned downtimes at night. If you are willing to go with it, obviously you are not going alone. You will be accompanied with another co-worker of yours. That will be male and female, depend on the availability. Actually, my first two supervisors in Sri Lanka were female. Both of them went to downtimes at night as well, right? Depends on, are you willing to take the go to a site? Are you willing to travel? Because if we are to exclude from those things, then the male party will be like, hey, how come those guys don't have to travel and we only have to travel, right? So it's two ways. So it's the same thing. So only thing is how it is defined. But if you are like in pre-sales like me, right? Pre-sales engineers, we usually don't have to go at night unless it is something like something broke down. We want to learn something, then we have to go to the site at night. It is almost all the time, it's daytime, and if you are working at night for an opportunity, then we are working from home at night. You will still be working at night, but you will be working at home, so it is in your comfort zone, so that is okay. Or you can take remote jobs if they are offered, like for example, network troubleshooting and all. You can take it. I'd say it's a great question you asked because people should know this and try more opportunities. It's not like we don't hire, it's just we look for that. Like we should be able to plug a wire, right? That is needed. If not, you can't troubleshoot networks. More suitable job opportunities for women. Anything is suitable. There like there's no discrimination. It's just the way you look at it. So according to certification, what is the most trendy or valuable certifications in near future? Right. Cisco is a company, not a certification. Fortinet is a company, not a certification. Palo Alto is a company, not a certification. Juniper Networks is a company, not a certification. CompTIA is a company, not a certification. Please do refer to Sorry, my bad. Sorry. So extremely sorry about this. Right. So the question asked, most trendy or valuable, right? If it is up here, it is valuable. If it is down there, it is not that valuable. The more you go up, it is more valuable, right? The way the companies you mentioned, I think these four like for-profit companies. This is not for-profit, I believe. So this is the industry standard, pretty much sort of thing. So that's why Security Plus is here. That's the Network Plus. Somewhere here, there should be a Network Plus. Here. So Network Plus is here, A Plus. Here, A Plus is here, right?